Brothers and sisters, welcome back to another episode of Williams to World Drivers Champions. Yes, we're back after a longer break than usual in between races to talk about the American Grand Prix and the races we've had in between. And let me tell you guys, they were absolute doozies. We started off with the Dutch Grand Prix. So we had Bottas, Gasly, Alonso, Ricciardo, Schumacher, Vettel all taking grid penalties at the very start of the race. And this I felt like was going to be the first race with the upgraded floor that was going to make a massive difference. And I was correct. 100% I was correct. And we started... Albon was 9th after his first Q1 run, which was incredible. And Albon then even manages to make it through into Q2 against all odds. We got our first Q2 appearance on genuine pace. We absolutely love to see it. In Q2, Alex ends up 13th overall, meaning we start the race within 13th and 15th with the penalties applied. It ends up being a wet start to the race, so in all the chaos and havoc, Albon gets all the way up to 10th before he actually goes wide on lap 5 and ends up 15th. Before a Magnussen crash on lap 26 brings out the safety car, where a good restart gets us 13th and 15th again in the standings. So back to where we qualified. On lap 41, everyone who hadn't pit yet, they didn't take the chance to pit onto the safety car and things, they actually really start struggling. And then on lap 42, another safety car, which means Albon at one point is all the way up in 2nd. We pit early to cover off the rain stopping, and it really gives us a fantastic advantage. And at some point, Alex is running up in 3rd place, and at this point I'm beginning to dream. But unfortunately, Albon spins on lap 68. But he still manages to bring it home in 7th place to get our first points of the season with Latifi in 12th. Albon absolutely scared the living shit out of me in this race. So as for the full race report in the Dutch Grand Prix, Max wins his home Grand Prix, and rest of the podium is Sainz and Perez. No other, us and Lando Norris being in 7th and 8th is a bit weird, ahead of the likes of both Alpines and a couple of the other cars you would expect to be in the points. So some weird results in there, but no one really massively out of position. So next up, we had Italy over in Monza, only Hamilton taking a grid penalty, and we ended up, after Q1, 18th and 14th, so that's Latifi starting 18th and Albon getting through Q2, where Albon ends up finishing, Albon finishes Q2 in 13th place. I wasn't expecting Monza to be an amazing race for us. As much as our high-speed cornering is very good, our actual top speeds and high speeds, or just our general top speed and straight line speed, isn't amazing. But by the end of lap 4, we are 12th and 16th. The 10 laps after that, Zhou and Gasly have a crash, which leaves Albon up in 10th. About halfway through the race, we've got our pits done, and Albon is fighting away for 10th place before he actually spins on lap 38, and we bring the cars home in 13th and 15th. Which I think is a shame. I think Alex probably could have got points there, but these things happen in racing, and you just kind of have to roll with it. To be in that position in the first place, I think, was a good job. Well, on a track that maybe doesn't suit our car as well. So, for the full race report, Max wins his 3rd race in a row, flanked by Perez and Leclerc on the podium. No other outliers there. Ricciardo picking up more points. He has slowly chipped away and managed to pick up a few points in the interim. And then next up was Singapore, the street circuit, and this was absolute chaos. So we had Verstappen and Vettel taking penalties. In qualifying, Tsunoda crashed, and we qualified 16th and 19th. Not great, but again, Singapore is a circuit that we didn't think would really suit our car. It's quite a low downforce circuit. At the end of lap 1, we are 13th and 15th, and on lap 5, Albon actually manages to set the fastest lap, which is, I think, maybe the first time we've done that. And on lap 18, Alex actually leads the race after not pitting, because I think we are the only team not doing 2 stops. We do a 1-stop strategy. And yes, at some point, Alex is running in 1st place. And with this, we actually really luck out in terms of a safety car, which comes on lap 20. So we get a really cheap pit stop, and after the safety car, we are 10th and 15th. We keep those positions for the restart, and Alex gets the fastest lap twice in a row, and then on lap 46, Latifi even gets the fastest lap, and we bring the cars home in 8th and 15th. So overall in Singapore, we had Leclerc winning the race with Perez and Verstappen making up the rest of the podium. Sainz down there in 5th is a bit crap for him, and Joe picking up points after a couple of rough races, and again, as I said, us in 8th and 15th, slowly racking up those points. And then finally, we were in Japan. We had Verstappen, Leclerc and Tsunoda all taking penalties, and in Q1 we take a gamble and go out on softs, and we actually managed to qualify 7th and 10th in Q1. So we get through both cars for the very first time. No, that's not the first time, I'm lying there, my bad. In Q2, there is more rain, and we get 5th and 3rd with the cars. So yes, for the first time, our team gets into Q3, and we're going to get a nosebleed being up this high. So for Q3, Latifi actually crashes on his final lap attempt, and we managed to qualify 9th and 10th, which to be expected. We were now on pure pace. We are not up there to be in Q3, to be honest, so just being there gives us a good advantage anyway. By the end of lap 1 though, Albon is 5th and Latifi is 6th, which is fan-fucking-tastic. Albon at some point even manages to overtake the Mercedes on pure pace. He gets past Russell, which outstanding, absolutely outstanding. Latifi runs wide and ends up all the way at the back of the grid on lap 9, and then the rain comes on lap 18 with Albon pitting and coming out 2nd and Latifi 15th. Albon ends up 3rd after the rain ends, and Latifi is 15th, and then absolute heartbreak happens, and Schumacher, as we are lapping him, spins, and Alex just clean drives into the side of him and absolutely ruins his front wing. So we have to pit, and Alex ends up 11th, unfortunately, in a race we probably should have scored some really good points. We only end up coming 11th and 15th. So overall in Japan, we had Max winning the race, Lewis 2nd, and Perez 3rd, with the 2 Ferraris 4th and 5th. Pierre probably having one of his best results of the season in 6th, and yeah, as I said, us in 11th and 15th. Really actually heartbroken after Japan. Like, that really could have been fantastic points for us. Like, I think we probably could have finished 4th or 5th there, to be honest, but it just wasn't meant to be, apparently. So overall, in terms of the standings, that actually leaves Verstappen actually fairly steadily closing pace on Leclerc. There's still, what, 23 points in it, but like, considering that gap was over 50 points to 2nd place at some point, like, Max was down in 4th, like, he's done a fantastic job to kind of come back and make this a competitive championship again. And for us down at the bottom, we are now sitting on 10 points above Daniel Ricciardo, but in terms of the constructors, we're still 8th, because obviously, while we are only scoring points of one driver, McLaren have scored points of both drivers, and I don't know if that will change for us anytime soon. But at the top, again, like Red Bull, just steadily chipping away at Ferrari's lead, and actually might be fairly competitive towards the end of the season. Like, there's only, what's that, 19 points in that, so pretty close going into the kind of final 4 races. There was another regulation change. I believe this is the 3rd of the season, and it was to do with the cost cap, which was a case voting to lower the cost cap. I'll be honest, I've not even paid attention to the cost cap. I'm like nowhere close to it at the minute, so with 4 races left to go, I don't think I'm going to be anywhere near close to it, but I did vote to lower it because we are a team that's not going to have as much money lying around as some of the others, so might as well. The other side of it is we have started doing more research towards the end of the season rather than developing new parts to kind of stem off some of the regulation changes for next season, and hope that we can kind of go into next season with a bit of a head start on some of the teams. So we've been researching stuff like the underfloor and the front wing, so hopefully that will give us some decent a decent head start next season to some of the stuff that'll potentially happen. Final bit of business is more scouting in terms of replacing Nicholas Latifi, whose contract is expiring at the end of the year. Let's see. Yeah, so I've kind of narrowed it down to these 5 drivers as it stands. So Jack Doohan, Oscar Piastri, 2 very, very young drivers who are ones for the future, 100%. Though I've just noticed that Oscar doesn't want to negotiate. Oh, it's because he's an F1 driver. Sorry, okay, so the F1 drivers won't negotiate on a race weekend is what I've learned. Even if they are actually open to negotiation any other time, they won't negotiate on a race weekend because they are busy with the weekend, as they say. So I've got those 2 kind of lined up and potentially in my sights. I also have Pierre Gasly, who I know his contract is also up at the end of the year, so it will be very cheap to actually get him in terms of buying out his contract, which would be nice. I have Valtteri Bottas, who obviously an ex-Williams driver, has a lot longer left in his contract, but is like, he's the best driver outside of the top 6 right now, so I think he would actually be alright to put in the car, and I think it would be, if I'm looking with the end game of getting someone like Jack Doohan or Oscar Piastri or Dennis Hauger in the car, I don't want the likes of Gasly, who would rather be like a 5 to 10 year project. I'd rather have someone like Bottas, who after 5 years or 3 or 5 years, I'm just going to shift on. And then with that in mind, I'm also scouting Sebastian Vettel. I have a soft spot for Vettel. I think he is an ambassador of the sport and an incredible ambassador of the sport, and has done incredible work on and off the track. And obviously he's retiring in real life. I haven't got word if he's retiring in the game or not. I have not seen if he's retiring in the game or not. I don't know how to find that out until I actually try and negotiate with a contract. But these 5 drivers are kind of my shortlist in terms of who I might be bringing in to replace Latifi. I don't know who it's going to be yet. I have that decision. I'll need to wait and see kind of money-wise where we're at the end of the season. But we'll need to see how that goes. It could be we have to go for a cheaper option, or someone who's not going to have much of a buyout like Gasly, like Piastri, like Doohan. Or if we're feeling like we have a competitive car and we can do something really special, maybe go for someone like Bottas, who could sign him for 2-3 years and then be ready to bring in someone like Piastri or Doohan later on. All that stuff's still up in the air, and we'll get to it eventually. But for now, it is time to head over to America, and I will see you for the start of qualifying 1.
Welcome to the United States Grand Prix. We're in Austin, but there are no wild cowboys on the track this weekend, just some serious horsepower. It's sure to be a race to remember. The Circuit of the Americas has it all. Twists and turns, steep climbs, fast corners, and a power-hungry Sector 2. Quite a headache to balance, even if teams will be looking at maximising downforce overall. This race may well be a title decider, and Ferrari's paddock is red hot as they prepare to fight it out.
Red Bull is lying in wait, ready to charge to victory.
Stay right here, because we're just getting started.
So we have just finished practice 3 and are on the verge of qualifying 1, and I had to share this because look at all these people taking penalties. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people taking grid penalties this weekend, just under half the grid. So like, if we can get a decent qualifying here, we could be within in for a serious shout of being starting in the top 10, which would be fantastic. But I just had to show that because it was incredible. Knowing that we are actually now a fairly okay car, I'm actually going to start doing the first run in qualifying on the mediums, because we want to be able to save those fresher softs for Q2 if we are to make it in. So we are going to start doing our first qualifying runs on the mediums, just because I think, yeah, we need those tires and we need to be able to have those fresh tires to do the runs. I like the American circuit. Well, Austin specifically, obviously. I'm not a massive fan of Miami. I think the Austin circuit is really good. I think it's fantastically designed. So let's get Latifi out. Let's get Albon out. And we'll fast forward and get to the first runs on these medium tires. So we are starting our first run here. We are following Latifi. We do have a couple of slow cars ahead of us. We have an Alpine and an Alfa Romeo on their outlaps, so hopefully, I don't know where we're going to hit them and how it'll affect us, so hopefully not too bad, but I have a feeling that Latifi is about to get majorly blocked here, which he is. That's unfortunate. That's fine. Like, again, we're on the medium tire tier, so I'm not expecting amazing runs anyway. But it's still unfortunate that we kind of got hit by, or we kind of got stuck behind these other cars. Albon seems to be made it out alright, though, with that Alpine pulling over to the side. So, yeah, that's a lot of grid penalties, so I'm just trying to, like, kind of process what I think about that. Like, a good qualifying here is now, like, even more important, because even where we qualify, like, we could end up 3-4 places ahead of that. So, going to be really important to try and nail qualifying here, and it seems like Latifi is again being blocked, so this lap is an absolute wash for Latifi. And I'm imagining that's not going to do Albon many, but okay, Albon didn't actually really catch up to the back of them. He might get blocked going through this final corner though, but he should be okay. He didn't get too badly blocked there, he didn't have to slow down too much. So we have a 135.7 for Albon and a 136.4 or 5, sorry, for Latifi. Not bad times. We are comfortably ahead of the likes of Stroll, which that's now becoming commonplace, being pretty far ahead of those Aston Martins. So we'll fast forward, get them back, get soft tires on, and we'll go out again at the end of Q1 and see if we can make it to Q2. So we are following on board with Albon here as he begins his final flying lap of Q1. The end of the session, coming to the end of the session, should I say, we are 12th and 16th. Not bad, but the likes of Perez had probably a blocked run. Alonso probably having a bad run as well. So, could be, I'm not expecting Latifi to get out, but that could just be a case of I don't really trust Latifi. But Albon hopefully can improve his time, like we are pretty close to the likes of Ocon and Ricardo ahead of us, so hopefully be okay getting past them. A couple of people, wow, a couple of people already finished their lap. Perez going all the way up to second, as we said. Ricardo getting out of the bottom, so we are inching closer to that. Stroll not managing to make it out of the bottom 5, and Norris again coming out of the bottom 5, so he is safe. And Alonso too, so we are pushed into the bottom 5. But Albon is going faster, which is really good to see, so hopefully we can make it through. Latifi as well, but again, I'm not really hopeful for Latifi. There's a lot more ground to make up. Because Albon comes up to the final corner, Latifi crosses the line and gets ahead of both the Aston Martins. Always really good to see. And Albon crosses the line and gets out of Q1. Fantastic. Always really happy to see that. He was out of Q1. Oh, he was only out by 1,000th of a second. Holy shit. That is so close. Oh, that is very close. That is a atrocious result for the Alpine there. Like, that is really bad. But don't care about Alpine. We're not Alpine, we're Williams, and that means we have one driver out of Q1. Fantastic. So we go ahead to Q2. We are looking all good and dandy. Let's get into Q2. Let's get Albon out fairly early, and we will hopefully see where Albon can end up. Not expecting, if we're only getting out of Q1 by 1,000th of a second, I'm not really expecting Albon to storm into the Q3. But again, we could be making up a lot of spaces anyway because of the mass amounts of penalties. But we'll fast forward to Albon's first flying lap and see how it goes. So we are following Albon for his first flying lap. Not a lot of traffic ahead of us that we likely should only really hit coming into the long back straight. So that's good to see. That should mean we should be able to get past them pretty easily. I think that is largely traffic ahead of us there, to be honest. So hopefully go around this corner. We'll be going... I'm actually now not certain we'll get past both of these guys, which is a bit unfortunate. Definitely get past this. Yeah, okay. The Red Bull, don't pull it back over. Good job. That's fine. We cleared all that traffic, no problem, with no actual... well, without losing any time, thankfully. And Alex is purple in the first sector, purple in the second sector. Who else has actually made times? Just Alonso ahead of us, so he was probably blocked by those two cars, but we're going to take it. So Alex coming up the last two corners here has had his first purple sector taken by Lewis. Probably going to have his second one taken fairly soon as well. But he comes around the final corner, quick line there, and Alex goes fastest with a 35.5. That's good to see. We'll get him back. We will get him. Actually, I don't think Lewis went faster in the middle sector. No, he hasn't finished the middle sector. Let's wait and see if Lewis actually was faster in this middle sector. He does, okay. That's fair. We were actually slower than Alonso in that final sector, so but that is kind of the more tight, slower sector where we expect it to not have amazing pace. We'll fast forward for the final runs in Q2. Let's go. So we return with Alex on his final lap. We are watching the timing screens to see who around us could be going faster. Norris goes slower in the first sector, and so does Alonso, which is bad for them, but good for us. So hopefully they stay behind us. Albon goes faster in his first sector as well, which is really good to see as he comes onto the back straight. Norris and Alonso going faster in their second sectors. We'll see what Magnussen and Zhou do. Leclerc goes second, not really pulling out a purple sector over Verstappen, which is unfortunate. But let's see what the guys around us do. Norris finishes his lap, stays 13th. Alonso finishes his lap, only goes 10th, so he's still in danger. We want to be looking to take over the likes of Alonso and the likes of Zhou ahead of us. I believe Magnussen is behind us. Yes, so Magnussen's behind us. We have Zhou pretty much directly ahead of us. So let's see where they finish. Ricciardo finishes as well, stays 15th. Let's see what we can do as we round the final quarter. We have about a 900ths of a second to make up on Alonso. Let's see what Alex can do. Oh, it's only 11th, and that goes to 12th as Magnussen hits 9th place. Oh, that's... I would have been a bit more annoyed if beating Alonso would have gotten us in, but obviously with Magnussen going 9th, that's not too bad at the end of the day. So, we end up qualifying... Well, we end up out of qualifying in 12th and 18th? 18th. So, we'll have to see where we end up after the grid penalties. That's obviously the more important thing right now, because again we have the likes of we have 7 people ahead of us who have still who have gone into Q3 and need to take grid penalties. So I'd be very surprised if we're not starting inside the top 10 by the end of this. So we'll go forward. I'll sort out the strategy and stuff, and we'll see you back before the start of the race. So we are just before the race here in Austin, Texas. Seems like a 2-stop is really the only way to go. There's no way you can stretch any of those tires out to a 1-stopper. So we're going to go with a rather conservative medium hard. Can I check here? I can't. So yeah, okay. So Albon is starting 6th today, and Latifi is starting 14th. So Albon all the way up in 6th is mental. We'll have to see where the guys around us are starting. Going to be a chaotic race with a lot of the pack trying to fight back to their rightful positions, but I'll hand it over to Crofty to get us into it, and I'll see you at lights out.
It's bright and sunny as the drivers line up on the grid. Here we have Alexander Albon. They might not be in the top 3 spots, but things could change fast once the race gets underway. Next up for the team, it's Latifi. They're in the back half of the pack, so they'll need to work hard if they want a podium finish. Will their hard work pay off today? Here we go. It's the United States Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Almost talked over Crofty there and said his infamous line. It is lights out. Albon is going to have an inside line going into this first corner, but only manages to tuck right behind Alonso. The back of that grid is so muddled with people. You get a really good run off that first corner and get 5th place for Albon. Fantastic. Gonna let them all, as usual, gonna let the guys push for the first lap or 2 and see what they can do damage wise, and then see where we are coming up to the DRS being activated. But being able to take Alonso there pretty quickly is a really good start for us, especially when he's what we're probably considering our closest rival in terms of pace right now. Like The Mercedes, the Red Bulls, the Ferraris are probably way too far ahead of us to really consider actual rivals in this race, but hopefully with the likes of Alonso behind us, the two McLarens, that's going to slow up a lot, like the likes of Sainz, the likes of Perez, and means we should be able to maybe strategize around getting past those guys, but we'll have to wait and see. We're already 1 second ahead of Alonso, which is really good to see, and we are actually keeping pace with these front runners pretty well, but now we're coming in probably the section of the lap that we are the worst at. So if we can stick with these guys through this section, that'll be really good, and which should mean that we are pretty good for when the DRS activates.
Do lift and coasting.
Yep, copy.
So I'm going to let Alex stay aggressive on his tires to make sure he stays with his front pack and doesn't get drawn into a battle with Alonso. Tell him to turn down the batteries because we're going to need those. Latifi up into 12th. That's good to see. I know it's really bad, but I always forget about Latifi during like the live races because watching him battle back there is just not as interesting. But we'll stick with Albon. He's hanging on to the back of Leclerc pretty well, which is nice to see. Don't actually know how likely the likes of a safety car and all is here, so we'll need to look and see. If I go circuit info, let's see, where is it? Pre-race report. Expected time considerations. 33%, so maybe not likely, and we're going to lose about 22 seconds in the pit lane. So got to make sure we stick with this pack ahead of us. In terms of tires, everyone has started on the medium or the softs, which is to be expected. Can't see many people running the hard until later into the race. That is Sainz making a move on Alonso, so he'll probably be healing us pretty quickly as we're actually starting to fall back from Russell a little bit. That's fine. We're not expected to be in a fight with him. A lot of those guys are actually on very scrubbed softs, like the likes of Sainz, Leclerc, Hamilton, all already on like in the 70% for their tire health. So obviously they're not using fresh tires. I believe our strategy does have us on fresh tires the entire race, which is good to see. Which is fine. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here as I'm trying to figure out. Right, so we're not going to be within DRS here, which is fine, but neither is Sainz. We're actually really losing fuel, which is weird to see. I'm going to let Alex push or attack for another lap because I do really want to be on the back of Russell before the DRS zone, which I believe is on the back of, yeah, that's straight. So we want Albon pretty close behind Russell, or as close as possible behind him, because Sainz will eat us up if we don't. So I have a feeling Sainz will probably just blow past us here now that he has the DRS, and we will likely now just be in a fight with Alonso, which is fine. We seem to be dropping Alonso fairly handily. I'll let Albon go back to kind of just standard tire wear because I think trying to stay in a fight with these front runners is just going to potentially ruin our race. So, I'll see. This gap with Alonso seems to be just constantly growing, which is good. So I might actually, I know it's early, but I might actually just fast forward for now because I don't see a lot happening, and with there being multiple pit stops in this race, well, sorry, quite a lot of pit stops in this race. I'll fast forward now, see where we are in terms of what happens and where we're going to be in terms of the pit stops, and see if, well, actually Albon does might have a run here. I just don't see him catching up to the tail of Sainz. Hopefully that DRS will let us kind of leave Alonso behind. So we'll fast forward a little bit here, see if Alonso manages to close that gap any, and see what's happening later on in the race. So Leclerc has locked up at the front of the pack, goes fairly wide there. That's unfortunate for him. Let's see. Yep, and the pack of, say, Alonso, Norris, Ricciardo, were all kind of slowly closing in on us because they could just keep giving each other DRS. But right now we are battling Perez as he makes his way back through the field. Hopefully we don't get drawn too badly into the fight with Alonso and those McLarens. I think once we're in that fight, we're probably just going to join the ever-trading DRS train, so might not be too bad anyway. if we are actually in that fight, because we were just losing time to them because they could just give each other DRS the whole time. As it stands for Latifi, he's kind of at the back of a train that starts with Bottas. I think it's Bottas, Ocon, all the way down to about Zhou for that train that's happening. Whereas, yeah, Albon's going to be struggling to keep fend off the likes of Alonso, Ricardo, and the two AlphaTauris. So that's not too bad in terms of where we are in the race. The McLaren's having a very good race actually at the moment. Obviously Verstappen is just kind of storming ahead at the front. But the fact that those two those two Mercedes are actually fighting each other is good to see, and it's not, which again puts distance between Verstappen and the likes of Leclerc, who is now in a very, very fierce battle for the championship with. So again, we'll fast forward a bit. We are going to be in this DRS train battle, but I imagine we're just going to keep trading those positions back and forth a little bit. But we'll see where we are come the first round of pit stops. Oh, there is a safety car on track. I can't see what has actually triggered it for now.
Okay, there's a big crash.
I'm going to assume it's Joe, who's out of the race. He's in the wall there. Do we want to make a pit stop now? I think it'd be way too early and we wouldn't really get an advantage. Let's see what happened to Joe. Nope. Clicked on that, nothing happened. Okay. Oh, a lot of the teams actually coming in for a pit stop now. They're going to try and get that cheap pit stop. But we will not. I imagine that's a lot of people who were on the soft tires are now getting that pit stop, which is fine. We weren't, so pitting now just wouldn't really give us a decent strategy, I don't think. We would just kind of go onto the hard. Maybe just go onto the hards and change our hard and medium stint, but I think that would be very hard to actually pull off. I think our tires would be destroyed by the end. Actually, now that I remember, let's get everyone down to conserve and harvest. So we're just going to pull up the back of the safety car. We'll see where we end up. We'll come back whenever the restart happens and see kind of what the grid positions look like as kind of everyone comes out of the pits, and I'll see you then. So the safety car is in and we are in the midst of the restart. Hopefully, I'm not expecting, as long as we don't get jumped by Alonso, I think I'll consider this a good restart for us. Not expecting us to be able to kind of get a jump on George Russell. So as long as we manage to stay ahead of Alonso and Gasly and Ocon, I think that's a good restart for us. It's just about maintaining position now that kind of all the pack has been grouped up, which it looks like we have done fairly handily, which is good to see. We seem to be okay from this restart. Latifi is down in 8th. Again, he hasn't really lost position in this restart as he sees Ocon and Hamilton battling behind him. Albon has actually pulled out 8/10 over Alonso, which is good to see. So we should be okay for this restart. We are sitting pretty in 3rd place. Not obviously going to stay there, but it's about maintaining that. But sticking with these guys, and so that when we are pitting, we're not kind of out of sync with everyone. Obviously, everyone who was on the soft tires is now pitted, and yeah, they're all down there, kind of in there. Oh, Hamilton got a really good pit stop there, like able to pit from 2nd to 6th, while kind of everyone else who pitted around him is now down like there. Oh god, Alex, what are you doing? Don't fight him. What are you doing? You don't need to fight him. Oh my god, he's actually going to overtake him. What are you doing? This is mad. Oh my god, Alex, what are you doing? This is just gonna wreck your tires. Oh god, Alex, you madman. Why did he do that? Oh, he did it again. No. Oh, what is he doing? Oh, the TV gets up to 7th. Oh god. Alright, okay. Alex, don't do it. Just leave him. Let him drive off. Go back to neutral. I'll let you push for another lap with your fuel. So we've just entered the pit window for Albon. We'll probably obviously extend that a couple of laps with the safety car giving us a bit more, giving us a bit of time to conserve our tires. It does seem like George has now kind of got into the rhythm and is now likely going to pull away from us. So it's about making sure that, say, the likes of Gasly isn't just going to rock up and fly past us. So we'll fast forward to our pit stops and see where we are once we are on some fresh rubber. So we're coming up to Alex pitting, and we've actually called a bit of an audible in terms of our strategy. So we didn't have a fresh set of medium tires to go onto, so I've actually decided to go onto the hards now. And due to the fact that we've conserved these medium tires for a couple of extra laps under the safety car, we can actually go to a soft at the end of the race. So hopefully that'll give us a lot of time to like we'll be able to push a lot harder at the end of the race and maybe even do a couple of overtakes back, like when we're there. So we have both guys coming in this lap for the hard tire. They are pretty close together, so hopefully they don't block each other. But there should be enough time between them. Hopefully we'll get these usual 2.7, 2.8 second stops. Super good from Albon's pit crew, and Latifi comes into the pits now and also has a 2.6. That's really good to see. So we're going to probably come out in the likes of, where are we coming out? Just behind Alonso, who we're actually racing, so that's fine. We'll just need to make sure we stick with Alonso for a bit. Conserve some fuel, conserve some battery. Don't burn our battery up or anything, or can burn up our fuel this stint. And then when it comes to the soft tire at the end, that's when we kind of go all guns blazing and try our best. So hopefully this stint should be a fairly boring one. We're just going to follow Alonso, get past him maybe, and chip our way through the field. We'll come back for the final set of pit stops, and that final stint should be where hopefully all the action is and we battle our way into the points positions. So we were in the midst of our hard stint when Tsunoda, we got the word that Tsunoda had a crash. Let's see, he just didn't turn. He just went straight on. Fair enough. I don't think that'll be enough to bring out a safety car, so we don't need to worry about that. This hard stint is maybe not going as well as I had hoped. We haven't really made up any ground on the guys ahead of us. We've just really been drawn into a fight with Alonso and then Magnussen, and we just haven't made a lot of progress, which is a bit shit. But we'll keep pushing. We're going to keep trying. We are just, again, like, we've just ended up trading DRS back and forth, but it's just meant that we've lost ground to like Gasly and the McLarens ahead of us.
11.
So we knew this might be a bit painful on these tires, so hopefully when we pit and put on the softs, we are in a good position to just gun it to the end of the race and hope for the best. So we'll fast forward again, see if anything else interrupts. Oh, someone has just ran wide. I don't know who that was. Probably not someone important, I would say. That's just Schumacher. That's fine. So fast forward, we'll maybe get to the... I don't know when we're going to pit. Probably around lap 40-ish, 42-ish. Like, I need to... I don't really know how long these softs are going to last. Let me check if I can add new strategy. Let's see how long the softs will maybe get us. Like a new set of softs. We say pit lap 42. Oh god, okay. Okay, so we're probably going to need to be pitting around lap 44. So hopefully we'll come back then. These tires should make it. We're not burning through them as quickly as we thought we would with the deltas. So around lap 44 we should be back, and we'll see where we are and who we're kind of fighting around that point. So we rejoin after that stint with Russell into the pits, and Latifi going to be coming in as well. Putting on lap 44, and we're putting on the soft tires. Hopefully it works out. I'm actually not... I'll be honest, I think I've got the strategy pretty wrong in this race. I think that early safety car I probably could have handled a lot better. So we're just going to need to wait and see. I think, like, I do think we'll potentially be in the runnings maybe for a point maybe 2, so 9th or 10th. But we're just going to have to try our best and see what happens. Hopefully Albon has the pace on these soft tires to do a bit of work and get them to the finish in a decent position. But I do think I maybe fucked it this race. For once, it's maybe entirely on me and not the drivers, which is like, that's fair. It happens. These are always going to happen sometimes that I get it wrong and not the drivers. But we'll see what happens. The race still still 10 laps to go. So
Okay, back off. Copy.
we'll see what. Still a lot that could happen in these last 10 laps.
Copy.
So we need to see. So this gap that Alonso is going down, which is very good to see. So it's about making sure we're trying to get past Alonso as quick as possible, which then will let us try and get on the back of this Norris train. So if we can get on the back of that Norris train, I would say hopefully by about lap 50, we might be able to start using the DRS and the ERS to really push through that and kind of make sure we're in a chance to start getting the points. So I'll fast forward a bit kind of till we're at the back of this Norris train, and we'll go from there. What the fuck? Holy shit, Alex just went bowling. Oh my god. That was insane. Right, keep this tire. Oh, what the fuck just happened? Oh my god. Alex and Ricardo are out of this race. Alex just locked up and went flying into the back of my two drivers. Alex locks up from so far back and takes out just... He hits Ricardo and he then collects, I think it was Magnussen. Oh, that is... Shit.
Yeah, P0, P0.
That is...
Yep, copy.
Oh. That's really... Fuck. A time penalty for Albon. Great. Fantastic, guys. He's fucking out of the race. So that has brought out a safety car. Shit. That's completely stunned me. Holy shit. Oh my god. So that's brought out a safety car. We'll come back whenever... Oh, Jesus. Let's speed through till we get to the safety car. Oh my god. We're in such a shitty position for the safety car. Yeah, because Latifi's 15th, which is... He is like the first person behind the safety car. Or one of the first people behind the safety car. And Schumacher, who he's racing, is going to be at the very back of the queue. So it seems like we are going to be 15th with Latifi and our DNF for Albon. But like, fuck me, that was an almighty crash. Oh, that is... Because Albon had actually managed to pull back really quickly onto that pack. Oh, fuck. That's disappointing. So it does seem like this is just going to be a 15th for Latifi. I'll probably now just actually fast forward to the end of the race because there's not really much you can do. Like 14th is going to be not far behind him, so what would be the point? He's just going to get lapped by a bunch of people and see what he can do. So that's likely the end of the race. I'll probably see you at the results screen. But fuck me, Alex, what are you doing? There's been another crash and another safety car. What is going on in this race? Oh my god, that's Verstappen out. Oh my god, that actually might... That is... What happened?
We're just watching the Red Bull.
Does he just lock up? He just locks up and goes into the wall. He was leading this race. He was about to pull up like so many points over Leclerc. Oh my god, that is actually probably just lost in the championship. That is mad. There's another safety car. Oh my god, right. What the fuck is going on? The end of this race taking so fucking long. Alright, bye. I'll see you at the standings. This is the end of this race. This is sheer chaos. This is probably going to finish under the safety car. Or it might actually... No, it should be a quick restart. So we're at the final standings of that bonkers ending. Fuck me, like that was mad. We had Perez making up 16 places in the end to come first, joined by the two Ferraris also on the podium. Bottas making up 13 places is pretty insane, and Gasly making up 6 is pretty great. And the two Hasses as well, being helped by 4 DNFs to make up 8 places. So the Drivers' Championship, yeah, like there's 41 points in it now with 3 races to go. That's really like, that is probably put the nail in the casket of Verstappen's hopes of winning this championship. And it's probably meant that Ferrari have pulled not a massive chunk ahead, but another good chunk ahead. So that was a disappointing race for us in the end. That seemed a bit promising. I honestly think I got the strategy wrong there pretty badly, to be honest. But we maybe could have salvaged a point or two if Albon hadn't decided to lock a brake. But these things happen. I'll take most of the blame for getting the strategy wrong. And I'll see you back on the menus as we talk about what's going to be happening for the end of the season. So we are back in the menus. Austin has broken our happy board streak that I think started back in Silverstone. what it, like... I suppose that's F1, that a race can go badly so quickly, but it is what it is. So as it stands, the plan is I'm going to finish the rest of the season. And then we will do a season 1 recap and a season 2 kind of setup, I think would be the best word for it. Where we'll go through kind of any last car designs we're doing for the next season, any research we're doing, recap the last 3 races, do a full run through of all the championship stats, and like design, like probably make the final decision about who will be our driver for next season. Get all that stuff sorted, and then we will be we'll probably not come back for the first race of the season. We've already done Bahrain. I think the plan is probably actually we will come back for like the likes of Australia, where like it's going to suit our car a bit more. Australia or Emilia Romagna, where it's going to suit our car, and we'll probably have a better representative of what our car can do, rather than the likes of, say, Bahrain or Saudi Arabia, where it'll not suit the car that we are kind of have at the minute. But that is for next time. I will see you at the end of the season, where we will see kind of how this shapes up. I'm actually like, it's a real like slow deflating of a balloon there that Max has now caused by crashing out in Austin. So we'll have to see how it plays out for the rest of the season. But I will see you then. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you at the end of season 1 of Williams, the World Drivers Champions.